Hey, we're live. We're live. How are you guys?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Otaku Yang. Good seeing you. Demon. Uh,
Yeah, it's
I
been
have
a
a hard
while.
time. I have a hard time. Mission, I have a hard time calling you that.
Demon Dick? You don't need to do it. You can call me Christie,
Christy, okay, Christy. All right,
right?
Christy. Um, Christy, great seeing you. I hope everybody been doing well.
Mhm.
Looks like you guys are busy. And we got Les Chris is on board here. He's always on board.
Mhm.
Let's see if I could show it.
Yeah, we got some people in the house. John, what's up?
Hey, secondary
Psychedelic.
comic. And John Stout, my Batman dude. All right. Hey guys, I'm gonna let Otaku Yang take the lead and lead on Otaku Yang. What's going on? You guys, what's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, we're really jumping on this call to promote Asian Invasion, and one of the leads for the event is with us today. She's the creator of Demon Bitch,
Mhm.
and she was we connected with you last May, I believe, during Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month,
Yes.
and this is sort of just us catching up, but also to talk about the event which is coming up this weekend. And I'm going to let you kind of talk more up to your background and introduce the event, and we can go from there.
Sure. Yeah. I'm doing Asian Invasion. It's about basically a bunch of NorCal comic creators and artists and artisans, and it'll be at King Kong Comics in Dublin, California, 9/21 to 9/22, and the event will be going from 10 to 5, and it'll be for free, and you guys can come in and hang out and meet all the artists. We've got people like Derek Kirk Kim of um, of The Last Mermaid. I know that's a pretty big thing right there. We've got Stephen Yu of Joan of Arc, and then we've got Philip Jin, of course, and all these other. And then there's a bunch of other Bay Area artists here, and we're throwing that out. Is John asking me for the new Kickstarter or somebody else? I'm trying to remember. I think John maybe supported me. I'm sorry, John. I don't talk to everybody at once. I apologize. But yeah, so what we're doing is that I'll be up there and we'll be going and doing all the things up there to basically promote our work, promote the comic bookstore, and just to go and show what was going on. So there you go.
Yeah, this Asian Invasion, it's becoming its own it's becoming its own sort of regular sort of event there in the Bay Area, correct? This is the second time this year that you're doing it?
It's the second time, yeah, second year in a row.
Oh, second year. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Hello.
that's what we're doing. Hey, what's up, Gio?
Hello.
Nice
Hi,
to meet
Gio.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
You need to
so
introduce us.
Excuse
Gio,
me?
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. My name is Gio. I'm a freelance illustrator and designer from Livermore. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
And what's your role in Asian Invasion? Are you just one of the creators that's taking part?
Yeah, it's my first time joining in. I was supposed to join last year, but I had a family event that time, so I'm just joining this one.
mhm,
Cool.
yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I
No,
just
no,
want to ask, is this at King Kong Comic and Games, Dublin, California? Is that right?
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay. I'm trying to go ahead. I'm just trying to get the info on the scroll here. So
Oh,
So
yeah,
this
that's
is
fine. Oh, John, by the way, John Stout, if you're asking about me, I don't have a new Kickstarter campaign right now. It'll be next year, probably in February. I'm looking at.
cool. So I guess Christy, we'll start with you. Let's what for this Asian Invasion, it's just really an opportunity for you to engage with the fans and
Mhm.
for them to engage with other Asian artists on this panel. But can you speak to sort of the larger uh, theme around this event? What brings all these talented artists together, and what's sort of the larger message that you're trying to promote?
Well, I think essentially, I just think that we're just kind of like, you know, in the diaspora of America, basically. And I'm not going to go into a sociological standpoint, but it's like we exist. And the thing is that in some ways we exist in a different way or a different perception of us, where it's like, you have the average Asian person, whatever that is, right? And then you have the other one where you have like something completely else and all the stereotypes. Whereas my intent for this show is just to just bring us as people. I mean, yeah, we all have our cultural identities. Like some of us are Korean, some of us are Japanese, some of us are Filipino, and some of us are Vietnamese, and all the other above. And that is something I've always wanted to introduce as a general whole. Like, yeah, we're the people that live next door. We're the people that can be out there and nuts and crazy to all sorts of other things. So it's sort of like, we're people too. And I know, not saying that the average person looks at us as an inhuman or unthing or unseen kind of thing. I'm not going to say that, but it's just more of like, look, we're here, we're standard, we're exceptional, we're all these other things where you expect everybody else to be. And I just wanted to shine because it's like with the Asian culture, yes, there's this issue of conformity because you want to go to a good school, good grades. Our parents wanted the best for us, but there's also that other issue of we want to do our own thing. Like I kind of got it from both worlds. Like I was kind of pushed to be like very high powered, very like educated, very this, very that, very driven, which is great. These are great qualities. Everybody and anybody should embody those. But then again, there's certain standards like, beauty or expectations or physical or other expectations that maybe didn't fit me so well. And, the thing is that, or behavioral expectations. I mean, I didn't come from come from parents that were like, well, you sit in a corner and don't talk to a guy. It's nothing like that. It's not, I'm not going to say it's like PERDA or something. It's more of, from where like my household, it was predominantly a lot of women. I mean, my dad was the only guy, but the thing is, we didn't have that. But there were other stereotypes that other women put on each other and other expectations. So I'd like to break that. Like it's like it never really fit me. I mean, I did pick up some things we all do that are good and bad from our parents, but it's also like this is me as an individual. And so when I did Asian Invasion, it was also a space for other Asians to be themselves as people because we know of that high familial, depending on what culture or something, but a lot of it is very similar, like Tiger Mom, very high pressure. You have to fit the family standards. You have to do this. I mean, it's not like everybody's like Korean people, like that's my ethnicity, but like that could be same said for Indian communities or Pakistani communities or Filipino communities or Vietnamese communities. There's like certain standards individually in each household of what a guy and a girl should be or whatever. And it's like, look, we can be ourselves too. So it kind of gives us that space to do it. We don't have to act the same or be the same.
No, that's a great point. Gio, what would you add to that? And would you agree from your cultural background? Is there sort of I guess a stigma around the comic book industry or that profession?
Uh, well, going back onto her statement of like, there's always a standard. I'm Filipino, so there's a lot of nurses, there's doctors. I just came back from a family reunion, and there's like, oh, this person does the government, this person does this, and I'm just the artist kid. So there's always like this weird comparison within the family, and it is awkward, but it is what I do, and it is what I want to do. Really, just to
Yeah.
make me happy.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think the artist thing is an Asian. Obviously, there is a little bit of that stigma in the Asian communities. Like they have their perceptions of what like they view as good careers or professions. But I think in general, like anywhere you say you're an artist or like you're like a commercial artist or something, and there's just sort of um, that negative perception of what that is. Like, oh, you just like draw pictures for a living, and it's not given a lot of good standing in terms of perception.
Let me be the old person here and say, no, we don't expect you guys to be. I mean, there's no bad thing about being artists. You should be good at artists. You shouldn't be doing it for a living. You should just be good at it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just remember like, I think some of the arguments for pursuing careers in the arts is that, oh, it doesn't pay well, right? Like music, art, these things are just things we enjoy and things we as a society highly value, but at the same time we don't pay we don't pay the artists and musicians what they, in terms of the value they create, we don't pay them what they're worth oftentimes. Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's the payment systems that are kind of weird. Like sometimes it's like, let's say in online comics and you're having like paid page rates, it's like it's cents to the dollar, and how they monetize that, it can be kind of very grueling. It's like a grind to like open it. Like, yeah, you have the digital versus this ratio, but then it was like that. But then it's like you look at the other stuff where you do not only the thing with a ratio of like pages to content, but it's also like Patreon. Like, yeah, they offer rewards and it's according to the price of the artist, but it takes a grind to do that online. The big thing is online sales is like a huge thing. And once you master that, that's great. But then, like where's the trigger pull from clicks to like actual monetization? So there's a lot of that too. So in my thoughts are that, the thing is also with money, it's like, is what range or rate do we have? Now they've gotten better at pricing it, but there are times that they do kind of go a little bit further than that, and it's like, sometimes you can't tell, you kind of have to feel it. It's like the art gallery thing. Cause I'm a resident artist at a gallery, and it's just like, I don't know what's going on with that, So it's like, sometimes you're not sure what's the best price for what not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this event is a 2-day event, so it's coming up pretty soon. Is it a Comic Con, or is it a place that you go to, or
It's a comic store.
comic book
King Kong
store?
Comics. And then, Philip Jin, he's the agent that runs NorCal Up North. He actually painted a mural out there with Dave Law. So there you go on that. So we've been, so they basically said, connected us with them, the store owner, since they have a great relationship with them. And they're seating about, I think, like 10 of us roughly, I believe, off the top of my head. So,
okay.
Yeah. So it's like 6-foot tables and stuff like that. And we're just going to go and do all those fun things as well.
It's a pretty good size comic book store.
I think from what I understand it is. I haven't been to that location in particular in Northern California, but from what I understand, it's a pretty big store. I think it's like got a huge game room, and comic stores with game rooms tend to be pretty.
Those are like a board game people, like all the, what do you call it, those?
Yeah, because a lot of LCS.
Yeah,
a lot of LCSs I've noticed, like in order to survive in this economy and the current range. This is my ramen noodle cat. He's a dumbass, but ow. So yeah, he's actually like a toddler. But what it is that a lot of LCSs, because of the revenue of comics and how that system is laid out, in order to thrive in the industry, they have to go and they have to have gaming. It's like if essentially they have events in the store. So it's an all-in-one experience. Hey, K-pop, what's up?
K-pop.
So you were part of the Asian Invasion last session. Why don't we just give us a glimpse of what that was like, what in terms of fan engagement, the overall sort of I guess feedback from the shop owners, and what your take on. Obviously, it's leading. You're doing it for a second time, so obviously the last one was a success. What was the last one like?
Well, the last one was at the Maid Museum, and they were very nice. It was a nonprofit museum, as far as I remember. And Shem, we knew this guy, the director Shem, and his wife. I've known Melissa Paglucia. I think I did not destroy her name. His wife, I've known her first. I didn't know Shem until later. But they were very gracious, and Shem was the director of the Maid Museum. So we went ahead. They had 2 levels, and these are vintage video game systems. So you even had like that Battlefront thing where it was $1,000 at the time, where like it had that whole thing. They even had that. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
But anyway, so yeah, you would just kind of go and work on that, and then not only on top of that, you would actually go and so at the top they had a few tables up there with Mog Park, me, and a few and Justo, right? But then you go downstairs and there were a few more people like Stephen Yu and quite a few other people. Like I think Philip Jin was there as well as Don Aguio. We will have Don Aguio back. By the way, he's been known to do Marvel, DC, and Image. I think he's actually known for his Spawn covers too. So we will. So we actually have some fairly big names from Image and DC and Marvel that will be there. So if you want to go there and buy their artwork, and you're not in this hyper crowded con where you have to wait, it's huge. You can go and see them. So there's Derek Kirkham, there's Don Pio. Those are two big guys right there. I think we have more. I'm just in the middle of juggling a lot of stuff, but those are the big things.
Cool.
So you got, what you got? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just wondering if you go with the artists too. You guys go there and show drawings or demonstrate the drawings, or
I'm sure what's going to happen is that there's going to be quite a few artists that will guarantee commissions. Some of them are just artists or artisans, so they may not have commissions made right then and there. I think Don Aguilo does take commissions. Don't quote me on that. Philip Jin, I know, takes commissions. I take commissions. I don't know about Derek Kirk Kim, but I think he may. But it's like every artist has their own way of doing it. We don't take any profit from any of the artists. This is a free space and an open space for people to go and do the artwork. We want to kind of keep it that way, where it's free admission, but also it's free for the artists that are invited to join.
Cool. And Gio, so this is your first time participating in it. Can you talk to what projects you're working on and what you're planning to promote in terms of your artwork and your creative works?
Sure. Well, I just finished a couple of just art series of cars and retro cars, and I do a lot of car artwork in general, of just Japanese vintage cars to like 90s, 80s, mixture here and there, just trying to capture that small niche of audience. I go to, like, whenever I go to conventions, there's like people request like, oh, do you have this and that, and I just keep note of it. So I did 4 new pieces of some car related artwork. I do a lot of Filipino characters based off of like Filipino food, so it's like more of an retro anime style. Like, do you know the term gajinka? It's like personifying an inanimate object into like a character of some sort. So I've been selling those quite often.
Cool.
And, currently, no projects in the works right now, but hopefully later on.
Okay. So, in terms of your commission work, are you taking commissions at this event?
I can take commissions. I am not at that skill level where I can just draw on the spot, but I will be happy to take commissions in like later time. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
You guys have some IG and stuff that you want me to show off, or?
Yeah, I have at Horror Tour Studios. You guys have got mine, I think, right? Because we've interviewed several people before.
Yeah, I'm at Geo Manjas on Instagram.
Geo Manja?
Manjas, Monjes.
Monjes. Okay.
Let's see if I could. You guys do your stuff, and I'll be slow, guys. I'm sorry, I'm really slow. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Oh, good. Okay. Take your time.
Yeah. So we're all relaxing here.
And both of you, so I know, Christie, you're driving up from Southern California to attend this event, correct?
Yes.
Gio, are you also traveling to the event? Are you local?
I'm local. I'm from Livermore, so the King Kong Comics is just like 20 minutes away from me.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, do you collect comics? What's your relationship with the industry?
I am not that big in the industry. I'm just a small artist. It was only a couple years ago where I met Philip and this other group of artists, and they were talking about, hey, why don't you try doing conventions and try making your own artwork again? And I just kind of fell into it over the past couple of years. Been going to conventions in Seattle. I just did one in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I'm just trying to see where I can fit into this industry, really.
Yeah, that's great. So we definitely want to help promote your artwork and get your name out there. So yeah, we drop in the chat links for people to follow.
Yeah. Let's see.
Where's the geo? Where's the geo?
Here.
Christy, how about yourself? Are you planning to promote something that you've been working on, or mostly just kind of supporting this collaborative effort?
Well, right now, I just decided to take a year off of creating a new book right now and just kind of like taking a moment just because I just wanted to, like, I normally do Kickstarters, but that will be next year because I'm just kind of going like, I kind of needed a moment to redirect and refocus because I've been going out to conventions a lot. And now as it's slowing down, this is my time to start actually like working on a new book. I mean, I already have all the material, but it's like, with me to get prepared for the Kickstarter, I want to go and get a few months more in advance and everything like that.
Yeah,
So,
awesome.
but for the most part, like I've gotten different. I mean, I actually do have new merchandise that I've dropped. You can actually order it through my link tree. It's through QR codes. There's the Asian Invasion exclusive like merchandise page, but then I actually came out with pillows and blankets and such like that. But that would be another link because it's a different manufacturer. So that would be
Okay,
on
cool.
there. Uh-huh.
We got
You guys,
Asian Invasion merch.
yeah, there's like one on my link tree. I'll go ahead and pull that out, and then I'll go ahead and get that to Naaman right here. Hold on, and you can go and
Yeah.
support people right there. Get the gear. It's a Creator Spring, so or Teespring, what was formerly Teespring, and I'll put that here. But then there's another one that I've gotten here as well, where it's con merch up here. And then the con merch is right there, and you can interchange its pillows and blankets. They're actually quite nice. I have one. And you can actually get the Asian Invasion pillow, which is really cool to do. And then I have other ones like, there we go. Just pop that on there, and you can get my signed stuff as well.
Okay. Now, do you see the links, yeah?
In the private.
I put it in the private chat.
Cool. Now, Asian Invasion. There's a little bit of tongue in cheek in that coming up with that name. What inspired the naming of that particular choice of words? Asian.
Oh, I was kind of messing around. This was at the tail end of COVID where they had reclosed the Pacific Northwest, right? And I thought, okay, well, I'll just go and do, Asian Invasion because, like, they were talking about the COVID thing. I never actually experienced that for COVID, but like the whole Black Lives Matter to Asian Lives Matter. Oh, you have a question? Sorry. Oh, hey. So, hey, Tommy, how's it going?
Sorry.
So
I'm
what
sorry.
ended up happening? So what ended up happening was that like after BLM, then they had the Asian Lives Matter, and the Asian Lives Matter, there was like some controversy about that, and so I just thought what would be most beneficial in that regard was just to basically do that tongue-in-cheek Asian Invasion Yellow Peril thing because we were thinking yellow journalism of William Randolph Hearst. So I just thought, let's just go fuck with people and just do that and just put that out there as kind of like. I mean, as much as I'd like to do, the Sakura or the Dragon Boat Festival and all that other shit, I mean, that's nice. But to be honest, I get kind of tired of those because it's like great, let me go eat kimbap one more time and fucking dim sum and all this other shit and smell the cherry and plum blossoms. Let me go eat some lumpia. No shame about the food. I'm just saying it just got to a point where they were kind of cookie cutter in their own way. and I got very annoyed by that. So yeah, that's like the stupid stuff I have right up there. And there's like Shipbird there. That's one of my characters from Demon Bitch. Basically, if anybody doesn't know Shipbird, Shipbird is basically she imagines herself to be a beautiful tropical bird, but instead she's a silly fucking goose. So there's that as well. And she's just, as I said, it's just I put it on all sorts of things. I was just kind of throwing that out there. But yeah, it was just like merged because people like say, "Oh, I like this drawing," so I kind of threw it out there just to see what it would be like. You can do the search filter for Asian invasion. It should have been up there, but the apparel. But yeah, like there are pillows and stuff like that.
It was another link, right?
Yeah, it's over.
Katie dropped it in the link there. No,
Oh, okay.
Asian invasion.
Well, that's
Oh no,
the
no, she dropped. That's the event page. Sorry, not the merch page.
Yeah, but here's Asian invasion. Okay, get the gear. Yeah, so you can go get the gear there, and then that's like my art stuff there. So there's the main 4 images, and you can either have them as pillow and blankets. It's like an experiment we've been messing with to see how well they take. But you can order it. You can order it from me at a con, and it'll be shipped directly to your house or wherever you want to be. So you don't need to worry about carrying it or forgetting about it or putting it on a plane or car.
Yeah. Now obviously in the Bay Area. There's a very strong Asian American community there, and they're probably going to come out and support. But obviously, this kind of event, when it gets, if you go into certain communities with this title of Asian invasion, it might not be so well received. What do you think are some of the I think issues around identity and race that remain for artists? This is a question to both you and Gio, that make it more difficult to create a name for yourself or get recognition from the powers that be to move your career along.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of do what I do. I mean, I've been told like whatever I do, it's not going to go anywhere or do anything, or it's too ugly or whatever. But it turns out it actually is pretty well received. So I guess I just do what I do anyway. Because I used to draw the pretty stuff, which people kind of didn't notice. But then, like when I went to Demon Bitch, which was like the ugly stuff that was kind of stupid and gross, and then they started noticing the pretty stuff again. So it really means what you're noticed for.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, could you?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah. Just, I guess, some of the challenges about being an Asian American artist, and how your identity can maybe detract from, your forward progress in terms of dealing with others in the industry that control the path of your career.
It is a weird take of like knowing that I am Asian American and kind of sharing that identity in my artwork. For instance, like up until recently, I never really drew anything like Filipino related. It wasn't until like during COVID and there was like attacks on Asian Americans and the whole like Stop Asian Hate, and there was like this small movement of, hey, if you're Asian, why don't you just share your drawings and stuff? And there was an opportunity to explore my heritage and kind of see what's it like being Filipino, being in the culture as an artist, as a Filipino American. And it's something to like, I'm still working out those feelings of like, oh, what's it like really being an Asian American in this industry? I never really thought much of it. I'm just learning to embrace it more or less at the very least. And it's like a weird balance of like, what content should I be making these days? Like, should I make more Filipino artwork because some people like it, or should I make other things that other people like? And it's like a weird balancing act just to keep those maintained.
Yeah.
Well, I also think it's dependent on like what ethnicity / what home you're like raised in. Like when I grew up, and it's also the time period too. Like when I grew up, I just kind of knew, okay, I'm Korean, but like I was born and raised here, so there is no issue or nothing for me being here, legitimacy or otherwise. Now I've known from some Vietnamese men that were born and raised here, probably in the late 30s, early 40s, that say, I never thought I'd fit in. And that kind of confuses me because, like, I was born and raised here. This is how I am, right? But I think because I had asked one of my friends who is Vietnamese, I think she was born here, from what I remember, because sometimes, like, in the generation after the Vietnam War, like when they had to flee Saigon, there's some that in that generation that were born there, or they had to be sponsored by a different country, or their family from a different area in order to get into the United States. From what I understand, I mean, I'm not going to say that this is totally accurate. This is just what I've heard from other Vietnamese Americans. But she explained why, and I just totally I kind of forgot some of the intricacies of it, because there's a reason why a lot of, at least Vietnamese men that I've met, have had that issue, have had that perspective. But for me, it's like my parents came here. They just wanted to leave Korea because essentially it was war torn. It was very poor in the ensuing years. So they left when they were adults to come over here to, like, just have a nice life and have and make money and not be broke. I mean, obviously, you look at Seoul now; it's a powerhouse compared to what it used to be. But look at the Korean Americans here that live here and work here, and they make a nice little life for themselves too. There's a lot of things, like you have Steven Yeun, which voices Invincible, Mark Grayson. So there's that right there. So I know my other channel, myself, my Facebook and my YouTube are streaming that. And if you click on I made a couple of comments in the chat. You can go ahead and click on those first, right, and then you can subscribe to those as well for mine. Now, if Jumanjos has anything else, like obviously, or anybody else, please do so.
How important do you think, though, it is for Asian American artists to kind of, because this is a collaborative event, you're getting together with some local artists, people who have obviously different levels of engagement in the industry, but how important is it for you collectively to be supporting one another and supporting each other? And do you have plans to maybe expand the event to include maybe a larger panel of artists and speakers down the road?
Yeah, there has been that. I would say that it is not a bad thing on that level to do that. It's essentially, we go with a venue that accommodates an X amount for us. And the thing is that the event up in NorCal is relatively pretty new. I mean, we're still growing it. It just dropped last year. So we still are learning from some things we could have done differently from last year to what it is. And now we have a new venue. So that's kind of another thing, like, how do we make this venue work? Because we had a last minute venue change. Just the maid wasn't able to do it, so they had to drop out. Nothing bad, but then we got into King Kong Comics. So that's more of a flat thing. So we're going to see how to work it out. So we're still in our growing pains. So it's not that there hasn't been plans to expand or to enlarge things, but I do believe that it takes a moment for it to grow and grow properly. So yes, in the future, we will tend to expand, but I personally handle Asian Invasion, the original one, Yellow Peril, down in Los Angeles, and it is also in a comic book store. And I'm working in conjunction with Jungo, who his ethnicity is Japanese, and he basically, I just started it kind of as a joke, and since he's Japanese, nobody's going to give him any shit. So there you go. So it's sort of to expand that as well. So right now I have to work with him for Free Comic Book Day, so we have to split up the space and it's smaller people. But it's like, but I've been doing it a little bit more last year. I think I did it 1 or 2 times a year as we were getting out of COVID. But I think it's just a thing of, I think with any particular event or con, I think you kind of have to nurture it for the first 4 or 5 years. And I was expanding out to Asian Invasion to NorCal until Philip Jin kept asking me, you need to do this, you need to do this. And it made more sense for him to kind of be the agent or the leader, supervisor up there, to kind of scope it out as he lets go. So that's in the Bay Area. He's more local there.
Cool. Gio, I was admiring your work. Obviously you are a fan of anime and manga.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to your sort of influences, either Asian or not Asian, that impacted you and influenced you?
Yeah, sure. Well, a lot of my influence comes from a Japanese artist by the name of Hisashi Iguchi. He was really big in the 80s for like this kind of pop art, like vibrant color, but like simple illustration design. And so I kind of took that to heart as something that like you don't need to be super flashy, you don't need to be like this and that. You could just keep it very simple, but also playful at the same time. Um, uh, that's like the first artist I can think of in my head at the moment. But yeah, it's most of my inspiration comes from this whole subculture called city pop, and it's kind of reflecting on like the '80s in Japan, and it's kind of jazzy, kind of happy-go-lucky in a way. And I kind of resided in that. I like to be more happy. I like to be personified as like a happy person, so I like to reflect that in my own artwork.
Yeah, I love city pop. It's an interesting period in Japan, definitely
Mhm.
for historians. Um, there's been a sort of I think right now, because of COVID, and because of the restrictions on travel, I'm just speaking to the travel that's opened up in Japan, because Japan, for a large part, has always been a city or a country that people have wanted to visit. And you had a large, uh, you know, proportion of tourists from China going to visit Japan. But post pandemic, my friends in Japan are saying like it's been largely been Americans now coming, and there's just been this flood of like Americans wanting to go to Japan all of a sudden. And so there's this trend now to just you see it on Instagram, you see it like everywhere. Um, where are you in that sort of? Have you been to Japan, or are you planning to go to Japan? Where are you kind of in that?
I've been to Japan multiple times before the pandemic. I have a couple of friends out there, and it's always a fun place to go to. And because of the pandemic, everyone was like, all cooped up. So once we were able to go out, I can understand people like, oh, we got to go somewhere really fun, really happy. But at the same time, because there's just an oversurge of tourists out there, a couple of friends have been there this past year, and they said it's very overwhelming just to see everyone out there. And like I mean, I love my Japanese culture and Japanese anime. I'm total weeb, and I also try to be respectful of like the culture when I'm traveling. I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to cause any trouble. And people who just go there blindly, they don't know that. So a lot of people have witnessed like a little bit of like a rude foreigner or just a little bit too rambunctious here and there, and that is a little bit sad to see.
Yeah, yeah. And Christy, I know you went to Seoul. I was enjoying all your fun posts, where the fun places you were visiting and the food you were eating. Can you talk about your trip and what you took away from it?
Well, it's interesting because I went on my trip to actually ironically get away. And what I thought was interesting about the trip was that I didn't approach it like, I know when people go on a trip, they go into influencer mode and they go like, oh my God, and they go and use this stupid ass flowery language that everybody else does. And I just wanted to take pictures and put them up there like, yeah, I'm doing this and this is cool. Like a lot of the pictures that I took, I did not take, I did not actually take and put up on there. I only put up a couple of highlights of my day because that's only what I was interested in. I was actually trying to, ironically, detach. But I had noticed it was funny because, first of all, when I was putting stuff up there, as I said, it was not an influencer thing, but so many people were following me. It was really crazy. Like they said, I live vicariously through your pictures. And I'm like, what? It was like people I hadn't talked to in a while, but they were all following my stuff. But it was interesting because when I went to Korea, it was a while ago, and it was in the 90s. And it was like the 80s to the 90s I went, and then I stopped for quite a long time and went back. This is my first time back. And looking at it, I was just like, wow, it had mellowed off. Like Korea used to be very aggro. I don't think everybody was wanting to kick your ass, but everybody got really just tense. There was this certain palpable like rage in the air. And there's like the kimchi smell, right? But when I went to Korea this time, I didn't smell any kimchi smell. The streets were really well paved. They were actually really clean. And it was like, I mean, there were uneven surfaces because Seoul is very hilly. I come back and decide to go live stream and say, I'm glad you're been here for me. Okay. But yeah, it was just like I just walked everywhere, but it was nicer. And like the time of year was different than what I would go to. Because like I think I would go in the summer, like I remember I think maybe July, and that's when Korea kind of gets gross. It's super hot and humid. I went during the nice time, like when it was late May, early June. So I stayed for the month of June, and even though it was hot and it could get sweaty, it wasn't as nasty as it would be in July. July is when it gets really bad. So I was walking around, and just it was nice. It's just Korea like upgraded, Seoul upgraded majorly, and it was like the subway system. It was never bad, but they upgraded that too, so it was nicer and cleaner. Now I never been to Japan, but it looked like kind of like a Japanese subway in some ways. But the subway, it's like if you're a foreigner, you can actually like navigate really well because there's so many people in Seoul that live and work and they're not Korean. And it's like I could walk up and down the street; it was safe. When I walked by a bunch of drunk people, they weren't all messed up or weird. Um, I mean, I'm not saying it was really dangerous in Korea before, but the drunk culture has definitely mellowed off. Like, you don't have people shoving each other or fighting in the streets anymore. I mean, maybe I saw two Coupang, and Coupang is Korea's Amazon, and a taxi driver started yelling at each other, but that was about it. And that was once. But like the streets were cleaner. There was like a big parasols by the sides of the street, so people could stay under it for the shade. And there were really upscale department stores and nice places to eat. There were like so many coffee shops that you wouldn't believe. But it was funny because like I would go get. So normally here, you have your coffee, you add sugar and cream, right? No big deal. That's how a lot of coffee shops are in America. You go to Korea, it's sort of the European style where yes, they have cafe americano or drip coffee, which is what we're used to. Then they have mixed coffee, which is like the instant coffee to the pouch. Korean people call it mixed coffee, but it has the cream and the sugar powder. Actually, one of my friends really likes it when I brought it camping. But when I did that, and I went ahead and I put. So when I was walking around, there were like so many cake places, coffee soup. They have so many coffee shops. It was not even funny. And they had like all these restaurants and everything, but everybody knew how to like understand English or speak some English. So you were never screwed out of that. And they have these new like stores called Olive Young. So it's kind of like CVS or Ulta. And they had like they would be like McDonald's, like two on one block. And then one 3-story one. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to go everything about makeup, but it was just new stuff there and everywhere that I got to see. So, Ace, if you have Vietnamese coffee, it's kind of like Cuban coffee. It just makes you like insane right there. I yelled at my guest for not being Korean for you name it. I'll yell.
I think he's trying to. I don't know if he's speaking English or not, but I think he's saying, "I yelled at my guest for not being Korean for you now, man," which is that's an awful thing for you to do because I love everybody, especially the Asian Americans. So
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We all yell at each other.
Were people masked up in Korea when you were like on the subway and stuff, or was that sort of like?
Nobody really cared. I think it was just as needed. So if they were sick, I didn't really see anybody wear a mask. I think like maybe one or two, but it wasn't really as prevalent at all. Like as I said, they only masked up if it's like they felt they needed to, but not many people felt like they needed to.
Right.
So it was just sort of like the COVID thing is. Yeah, the COVID thing was kind of in the past. I think. As I said, when I was in summer as a kid, I don't remember people masking up when they were sick. I know that's a thing in Japan and in generally a lot of parts of Asia. But when I was a kid, like summer, I guess nobody really caught too much of a cold. I ironically did catch a cold over in Korea. It was weird because it was one of the rare. There were 2 rainy days, and my mom got sick. But we thought, she might have had she went to the doctor there, and she had the full X-ray done and everything, and that was $100.
Yeah, it's cheap.
And it was all done in one day. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But so we went and we just relaxed for a day or two. Then I got her cold because I thought like they thought she had a throat infection or something, and I thought, oh, okay, that's fine, we're good. And then I got a cold and I got sick, and I'm like, oh shit. So
Yeah.
we spent a few days sick, but then we got over it. But that's when we
Here's
masked
how
up.
here's how it was mask culture in Korea. Okay,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, um, if you had a cold, mom would give you a mask so you don't spread your germ around.
Yeah.
Put your mask on, and you go. You got a freaking cold. Go to school. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of these. Then I came to America. I come to America and teacher, I got some cold. I need some mask or something. And I'm of course, with the broken English, right? Because at the time I didn't speak English that well. And teacher goes, "Go home." I go, "Huh? I get to go home? I'm sick. I get to go home." So I said, "Yeah." I mean, it's like that's and so this is what I don't get about people putting masks on in the United States. I was saying, dude, just put the mask on so you don't spread your germs around. What's the big deal about putting mask on? You're not gonna die from putting mask on. Okay? I mean,
Yeah.
I think because it's contextualized in a weird way here, because like in America, like growing up in America, it's like it was weird because like you were sick, especially as a kid. You stay the hell home, right? You don't want to spread it to other kids. So that would be one way to reduce transmission. You just stay at home and kind of I mean now it would be considering self quarantine, but you just go home and rest up. It's good, but I think as America, like when I grew up, more and more, less people were wanting to take days off and just work through their shit, which was bad because then you spread the cold around and everything. Like some people would have walking pneumonia. That's not good, and you're walking like, but it's like going, you should probably like go lie down if you have pneumonia and sleep or something. I think your body's telling you to like kind of like relax, buddy. And I think like with the thing, I've been a cold medicine, not that Korea doesn't have cold medicine and all that, but it's like, I think it kind of staves down the symptoms so you don't feel sick, so you do more normal things. And I think Americans kind of get like into the more overproductive stuff rather than say, okay, I'm sick, I am staying home, that's it. And I think now after COVID, people kind of went like, I don't feel good, yeah, just stay home. Even though people say I am self quarantining, it's like, no, you should actually do that every time you have a cold or flu. Stay the hell home and don't spread it to everybody else. Like, that's it. I mean, we have the space to do it. And in Korea, at least in Seoul, it's more crowded. I mean, I know America, I'm overgeneralizing, but in a lot of areas, America, you have space, you have your own home. Just stay at home and just rest and get better. And that's how you don't spread it or reduce transmission. Whereas, like in Korea, like what I noticed about Korea, you have to walk everywhere. Like, yes, you can drive, but even if you're dog tired and get off the subway, you still have to go up the steps. I mean, they still have disabilities, things like, with escalators, and they have elevators, but it's not kind of like how America is. Like, that's the best way I can say it. It's not like how it's laid out, if that's the best thing, but they do have those. But it was very interesting because in Seoul, I didn't see anybody with a mobility scooter. I maybe saw one or two people with wheelchairs, and that's if they look like, and again, I'm not trying to assume, but it looked like they were paralyzed. So I saw that, but I wouldn't see it very often. Or like you had the old people with the canes and stuff, or walkers or things. But you didn't really have too many people that needed mobility scooters or anything like that, like here in America. So I thought that was interesting because I don't think they really have the room for it. That's the thing, because they take up a certain amount of space. But in America, generally, in a majority of cities, there's a lot of space to allow for things like that. So, I mean, we have more room in general as a nation. So I think like that's why the staying home and not going out and doing anything is good. But unfortunately, at least in Seoul, like because it's so metropolis and laden and everything, you have to like literally walk. Like literally, I didn't really see anybody with high heel shoes. They just wore a lot of very good walking shoes to like almost like croc like stuff, and they would just walk everywhere. So I think it's kind of like you use it or lose it mobility, because you grow up, I think, walking freaking everywhere. That's why. And then in America, you walk up, we're mobile, but then up to a certain point, we just drive in our car a lot of the time, wherever possible. I mean, that's more in our culture than anything in general. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, in Korea, you have to go out and do something. So if you're sick as a dog, like there's only so much you can do, so you have to like mask and go and do things, and you're in a much more crowded area in Seoul. So it's like, but it's weird because like one time I was eating with a friend who is not Korean, and I was giving him the utensils because it's just polite. That's how I was raised. It's like, why are you putting your hands on the utensils? They're clean. And I thought, whoa, what? You know? And it's not like he was saying I was filthy. It was just like, why are you touching them? But it's like, to me, that's a normal thing. So I just thought it was funny. But yeah, it's like kind of different modes you have to be in. Oh, but my whole thing about the drip coffee, I'm going to say, is that if you order a cream, orange cream, they'll give you sugar. It's fine. My mom ran into so much frustration because she and I, we both take her coffee with cream or milk. And she kept insisting like she wanted milk in her cafe Americano. And they kept saying, some places were like, we're going to charge you for it. She's like, no, why are you doing this and everything? And what I learned is that in Korea, like if you just get a latte, that will actually sugar and cream it the way how you want it. So I just would order lattes. I just wouldn't want to be bothered to go through and do the other thing. And my mom said, why are you getting more expensive drinks? I said, for the amount of haggling that I have to do with everybody else, this is fine. It's not that much more expensive.
Yeah.
Well, at least Korea is really, you have to sort of be healthy, and they'll let you know if you're not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Korea has a lot of preventative medical stuff. Like they'll say, like you need to lose weight, you need to do this, you need to do that. They're not very.
It's not really insult in Korea to say, "Hey, you gained some weight today." Well, since I saw you.
Oh, they'll the Koreans are very image conscious. So if you've gained weight, they'll let you know, and it's not a social faux pas either.
Yeah, it's not such a political incorrectness like here.
It's not.
Same thing with Filipino aunties.
That's the funny thing too, because it's like when I went to Korea, I saw more chubbier people. It's not everybody was super skinny anymore, but I think also the amount of foreigners that live there now, or people that are not Korean that live there. So they were like, well, we kind of need to get clothes for people to fit. I mean, you get the really super skinny girls, but there's like people that we would consider chunky or chubby. But I never saw really anybody that was morbidly obese over there. But I don't know if it was just because they were walking from day one so many times in Seoul that it was just sort of built into their system. That's the only thing I think
built into the system.
Well, the corporate culture there also is very stressful. So a lot of people like eat and drink and don't exercise and smoke, and they do all the unhealthy things that lead to shortened lives. But so that it's great that both of you are sort of like have been to Asia recently, and we got Stephen Yu joining us right at the 11th hour. How you doing, Stephen?
Hello. Hi. My my computer froze video wise, so give me a minute. I might have to jump back on.
No
We
worries.
see fine.
The fellow Asian invasion artist.
Yes, he's one of our artists in Asian Invasion.
Looks
He has a cat named Shinji. That's why he's in. Just kidding.
All right, so he jumped out. I guess we'll just do some last thoughts and go arounds. What in terms of what you're expecting this event, what you're trying to get out of the event, and what you hope this weekend will bring. We start with Gio.
I'm just happy to be here, happy to be there. I would like to meet. I've been told that there's a lot of other Asian artists, and I would like to meet everyone and just see what everyone's all about. And kind of like it's nice to share each other's work and our own visual identity, and also just meet people. It'd be nice it'd be nice to show people what we're about, what we do, what we make, and just show people that we exist, that we're here.
Yeah, Steven should be back in a little bit. He's just there's Steven.
There we go.
Hey, Steven. I think we're still frozen.
Hey,
we can hear you.
Frozen.
We hear his voice. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Technical
You know, I think
difficulties.
like there are some computer problems or internet problems that have been happening intermittently. I was running into that earlier today. Almost
Can you
every.
speak to Steven's background so we can just get into um, his work when he gets back?
Yeah, so Steven, he does this thing called Joan of ARC, ARC, and he does CU Arts. He's up in Northern California in the San Francisco area. He just recently also is in the process of moving or has moved to Reno as of recently, but he's been very helpful in terms of like some of the social media stuff and everything. So yeah, but I met him several years ago at cons and we just kind of met each other and he was at the last Asian invasion. He does amazing like calligraphy style work digitally. Also, what's another great attribute of him is that he has a cat named Shinji. Yes,
does
after
he have IG? Does he have IG?
he does. It's a SEO artist, SYU artist.
Shinji, as in Evangelion Shinji?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Shinji.
okay.
I can also explain that one.
Send me the link.
And then he's also Taiwanese, so that's one of the things that he gets in. And I go into the qualifications of Asian invasion. If you're part Asian Pacific Islander, you're in. Now, if your girlfriend is Asian and you're a creator and she doesn't work with you, that doesn't count. The dipstick method is not a thing. I don't go with that. But I don't care. It's like, I mean, I would love to. I haven't had this yet, but I wish I had Indian and Pakistani artists in my thing, but I just have never run into them. I mean, I've had people say, well, have you ever thought about putting that in there? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's not that I haven't found it yet. That's it. So, I mean, I'm kind of like thinking to myself, well, let's just go and see what's going on with that, and just like, I mean, as I said, it's any Asian, any type, any mixture of Asian, like Blasian, that is a thing. So, people I know that are Blasian. I don't know too many artists as this way currently in my circle that are Blasian, but I keep meeting more and more people. So it's like, as I said, if you're any sort of Asian, then you are qualified to be in it. And
Gio, I missed this. Did I miss this, Gio?
Oh yeah, that's my website along with my online store.
Love it, Gio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's put the call out there. So if you are a South Asian artist and in the Bay Area, please stop by Asian Invasion, introduce yourselves to the group, and hopefully, there'll be room for future participation down the road.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, we curate it every year, so we try to mix it up.
yeah.
Cool.
So it's going to
cool
be
stuff.
this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at King Kong Comics. Can you give the specific location again, Hyung?
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, and it'll be next weekend. It won't be this weekend.
Oh, it's not this weekend? Oh, it's next weekend. Excuse me.
Yeah, 9/21.
9/21 and 22. Next weekend.
Let me.
I'm messaging also Stephen you real quick just to see what's going on with him because I would like him to get on here and talk about. He just finished a Kickstarter, and I know he's been working on a lot of projects.
Perfect. We'll wait for him then.
Yeah, he's saying he's having some computer issues, so hopefully he'll be on in a minute. Yeah, thanks for knocking stuff over. My black cat just laid on some stuff and just knocked a bunch of stuff over. It's like, that's good. And she's just glaring at me like.
Is there, do you feel like it's an easier networking event when it's a lot of Asian Americans or Asian, I guess, people at an event versus non-Asian? Is it like, I guess what I'm asking, is it easier to connect and bond with other Asians rather than other people in general? What's your take there?
To be fair, I think with both events, I think it's great to do both because like we've met some really good artists or other people that are Asian that said, wow, you did this? Like, wow, you totally are what I want to like be in and like because I didn't fit in anywhere. To just people thought it was just cool, which I'm fine with. Like they're like, it's weird because I think sometimes people when they go into another ethnicities thing like black, comic or Latino comic or whatever, it's like there's this I think fear that you're just making this a novelty or something. But I never really get that from people. I think it's just people think it's just neat. And I think sometimes what's annoying is like people just say, "Oh, this is neat. I want to look at this thing and touch this thing and like play with this thing." And people are like, "Ew." So you're acquiring it for yourself. And it's like some people are excited. If I see something that's new and interesting, wouldn't I want to know more about it? So that's the thing. It's like I don't get that with people sometimes. I think there's a big difference between being really fascinated and amazed with something and just getting it as a appropriation type thing. And in a way, like in some things, like some people have appropriated things and made it into their own. Like Korean people, like I'm trying to think what's a big thing. Like, like makeup is a universal thing. Korean people made it into their own as well as skincare. They added
Steven's already having a hard time.
huh?
He's in the background, and then he didn't have mic
Oh
on.
no. Well, maybe he could do voice if he's open to that. But
Well, we can have him on, next week, and just kind of focus on him, if he's willing to join again.
yeah, like maybe message him directly and ask him
I'll do
if
that.
that's
Yeah.
a possibility. But yeah, it's just like, but there are things like, sometimes people just are fascinated by something because it's like, oh, it's a new thing and I want to know all the things about it. And I get that a lot more from people than just like, oh, it's a novelty thing. All the Asian people are sitting there in one corner and we're not going to do anything. And they're just like these weird museum specimens. I said, we're way past the point of Victorian, like the Victorians would have these fucked up zoos where they put the Hottentots in there as well as other native peoples to look at them like in their natural environments. I think we're way past that, at least here in this country in that regard. But it's just people just want to know, and people are like, I never heard like Hmong culture. Like Hmong culture. I mean, I knew a few people that were Hmong, but I don't know a lot about it. But if I knew more people that were Hmong, I would totally be wanting to know more about it. Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Thai, Vietnamese, and all this other stuff. And it's like funny because one of the things that's interesting for us Asians is that if you just get Asian people together, nobody else, we will just totally fuck with each other. It's just known. We will just trash each other. Oh, there's Steven. Hi, Steven.
Wow,
Hey,
that was quite an episode. Just to talk to
You're
you
here,
guys.
you're here to say goodbye, right?
Yeah. Hi and goodbye.
Hey, Steven, come back to us when I, yeah. I would love to interview you guys one on one too. So,
Yeah, just briefly, Stephen, if you could introduce yourself. We are planning to connect with you again next week and just maybe focus on more of you as an artist. But yeah, just go ahead and introduce yourself.
So basically, I'm an illustrator, writer, and self-publisher of my graphic novel Joan. It's this weird concoction of it's a duck press of Hong Kong cinema meets anime meets like spaghetti westerns, and the premise is Joan of Arc is resurrected from the dead, and God gives her immortality and infinite ammo to go against the patriarchy, King Henry of England. And I've been working on that for the past 7 years now. I've just been doing shows and going around promoting it. So I recently did a crowdfunding in July. It was very successful. I was really proud of it. And so Volume 2 just came out, the second issue, and I'm still working on the next two volumes.
Do you have some pages you can set up to share, if you like share your screen or anything like that?
Yeah, if my computer doesn't kick me off again. Could I give you maybe a couple of pages to share
or links? Yeah, if you
Yeah,
have
sure.
links,
Yeah,
show
so
off the links. And just as a note to our audience, this is really part one of an ongoing series. We plan to have Christie, Geo, and Stephen on again probably next week leading up to the event, and to talk more about their work and and Asian invasion.
here is a trailer for the crowdfunding I did.
All right.
And then some images from my website.
hold on.
Oh, are you presenting?
Oh, sorry. Let me.
There you go.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is over the course of 7 years, starting in 2017, but published in Comixology in 2020. Uh, Took it off Comixology because I wanted to kind of just retool it, uh, redo some panels, add some extra pages, and then yeah. So it's
Is
the
this your
first.
first Kickstarter project, or have you done work in the industry before?
Yeah, so I was a storyboard artist in LA doing stuff for Google, Toyota, Taco Bell. I even did stuff for the United Nations Foundation. But it's just my dad died in 2018, and in 2020 COVID hit, and it was just a deciding factor of where do you want to go next. And I decided I really need to put all the eggs in the basket and really pursue my own self-publishing venture. And the road hasn't always been easy, but I'm definitely just like Bill Watterson said, it's like to design your own life. You're definitely going to be happier for it. And so the comic, the first volume was completely self-funded. Toured it around at conventions for the past like 5 years or something, and then I was like, okay, there's like this small built-in audience that likes it, appreciates it. So earlier, yeah, in July, I just did my first crowdfunding, and it worked out. I was like really surprised. I thought I was going to get $0, and it was going to be a lot of like, I don't care about you, like your work sucks. But it turns out it was the complete opposite. So
No, I'm glad, glad we're able to help you
Thank you.
promote this, but it looks amazing. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up now. Any last thoughts or words? We are going to connect with you again next week, leading up to the event. But for today, we're just going to leave with some final thoughts and for what people can expect from the event. Stephen, I guess we'll start with you.
What can they expect? Expect really cool art from all of us. People like Christie, Gio here, Dave Law, Joanna Chen. I mean, it's going to be awesome art. At my table, a lot of it is martial arts, like Asian cinema inspired. So definitely expect a lot of cool like 80s, 90s martial arts action movie influence artwork, and my graphic novel Joan, which is a culmination of all that.
Cool. And Gio?
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of cool art, ranging from comics to just illustrations, different colors, different backgrounds. People deep in the industry and people just new in the industry, and yeah, it's just to have a good time all around.
Yeah. Love the retro Japanese cars that you in your artwork. That is so cool. All right, Christy, how about you?
Well, other than being a thoroughfare for cats at the moment, basically, basically you'll probably see a lot of Demon Bitch. I'll be bringing a lot of the books up that you can purchase and get signed. I will also have a lot of prints as well, but I also do commissions and sketches too. Probably some stupid ones. I actually am running out of the King Diamond. My friend loves King Diamond, and he likes Demon Bitch so much, so they put her in there. He does rock comics, so it's like I have a few left, so I'll sign those as well.
Okay.
I do have, before we go, I'm going to plug something in myself a little bit. I got
Promo.
I got me a blank cover here.
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I could show myself up here. So this is a blank cover. It's not a typical blank cover. I don't know if you guys notice or not, but it's a blank cover for.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That's
Yeah.
kind of weird because like today I saw like a clip on Facebook of Muhammad Ali facing up. I guess it was Thomas Fulton.
Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah.
So my new project is after I gain my strength on my right arm.
Homage the cover, yeah.
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna how much the cover is. I'm gonna exactly copy the Muhammad Ali and Superman. I
Cool.
may make the Superman uh, Reeve, him,
Christopher Reeve.
but
Okay.
the people in the people all these people that's in there, like this one's supposed to be Jimmy Carter right there, right?
Uh-huh.
All these people are gonna be filled with the people from the comic book community.
That's an amazing idea. That is going to be so cool.
So I'm gonna be this little chart with all the different people's name on this double cover. So my new
Wow.
project is I'm gonna uh, put all these comic book community people into this cover. So,
All right. Well, you got to put the people in the chat today on that cover. So send us your pictures in the chat. Send us your pictures.
yeah, I'm gonna put all these people in here. So
Okay. Cool.
let me know if you want to be in it. Okay.
That is awesome. All right. Well, looking forward to that. And yes, we're gonna schedule a time. We are gonna just kind of end things here, but we are coming back with more with a panel on Asian invasion. We're gonna have some more artists that are gonna participate next weekend, and we'll catch up again soon. So, yeah, stay tuned. All right. Thank you, panel,
Thanks
for joining us
showing up,
today.
guys. I love seeing other artists. I love seeing, especially Asian
Support
artists.
Asian invasion, Bay Area peeps. All right, we'll see you next time.
Guys.
All right. Bye bye.
Later.